Okay, well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Avanade and Microsoft webinar on ensuring compliance for the automotive security standard. My name is Paulette Lee, and I'm your producer today for Microsoft Corporation. The webinar today should be about 60 minutes in length, including about a 10 to 15-minute Q&A at the end, where you'll be able to come off mute and ask questions to our speakers. We are broadcasting this through Microsoft Teams, and it is being recorded by the Microsoft Corporation. By participating in the webinar, you are giving consent that you will be part of the recording. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat window. Our experts are standing by to answer them throughout the webinar. The deck that we're sharing today and the recording of the webinar will be shared with all the registered attendees after the event, about 7 to 14 days after the event. If you have not registered with us yet, please do so with the registration link that will be in the chat window shortly. Also, thank you for adhering to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. That's also in the chat window. Appreciate adhering to the guidelines. We have 7 great speakers today between Microsoft and Avanade. They're all waiting to, anxious to talk to you. So with that, I will turn it over to Bernd to get started and for Uche to bring up the slide.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bernd Dreher. I'm part of the Avanade Automotive security team. In this webinar, we want to demonstrate how we could support OEMs to fulfill the new regulatory requirements of the UNECE WP.29 with our secure automotive cloud platform based on the Defender for IoT. Next slide, please. The car manufacturers are in a transition away from a traditional production of engines and car bodies to a software vendor. They have to provide the customers, users, a digital ecosystem with functionality and services on demand like ADAS. This is a huge change for the established classic automobile manufacturers with a lot of changes and challenges. Please, next slide. You see here, we identify 4 key topics. You see here, they have to ensure the connection of the cars. They have to manage a lot of different platforms for the connectivity from the cars with the infotainment and all that stuff. Then one huge topic is to achieve the next level of autonomous driving that should be provided to the customer, to the users. They can enable this service on demand when they are on the way on vacation, for example, from Munich to Paris. For this trip, they want to use only for this trip, this functionality and service on demand. It's many new business models in place, shared ride-sharing models, how should manage this, and what are the topics for that. The next point from our point of view is how to manage the infrastructure, the payment models, the capacity management with the electricity. Next slide, please. This is an overview over what we are speaking here. These are 2 regulatory requirements they have to fulfill from the OEMs in the future. This is the UNECE WP.29. That's valid for around 60 countries in the world, as well the ISO SAE 21434. For this topic, later on, my colleague Ran Ishalom will give you a deeper dive regarding this regulatory requirements. What does it mean exactly? I am over to you, Uche and Andy.
Uche, you're on mute.
You are on mute, Uche.
Apologies, I'm sorry. Thanks so much, Bernd. My name is Uche. I'm the IoT security lead at the Global Cybersecurity Center of Excellence at Avanade here. And in today's increasingly complex and fast-moving threat landscape, it can sometimes take months to detect data breaches. And this means that the time an infiltration or malware is discovered, by this time, malicious actors have mostly already wreaked their havoc, right? So for vehicle passengers and drivers, with all the risks involved in driving, which we are aware of, this could actually mean the difference between life and death. And this also conversely means that OEMs can't afford to wait for days, talk less of even hours, sometimes not even minutes to react to cyber threats or risks, right? This important factor is also clearly reflected in UNECE WP.29's compliance stipulations, which require that OEMs develop an effective cybersecurity management system to secure vehicles' communication channels, such as connected cloud and backend servers, data and code update procedures, as well as all related external connectivity. As Bernd highlighted a few minutes ago, one effective way of meeting these challenges with the help of vehicle security operation centers, or so-called VSOCs, as they're popularly called. Now, VSOCs are the cornerstone of the solution we're showing you today. Our solution is a zero trust based solution comprising unified Microsoft components, and we've given it the name Secure Automotive Cloud Platform. Now, I'm going to take you over a brief overview of the VSOC and the concept of the VSOC, and we're also going to take a look at what lies under the hood of this SACP solution. Now, as you can see from the diagram above, or diagram on screen, there are three main components to the VSOC solution. The first is the vehicle component, with this plethora of different sensors, communications buses, interfaces, with which you collect and correlate information to help us understand and detect the so-called indicators of compromise, right? So the relevant tools also within the car component, we need to understand the tools, the tactics, and the procedures, or TTPs for short, that might indicate a breach or malfunction. The second part, or on the bottom left, is the offboard management infrastructure. Now, this section covers supporting services such as underlying cloud infrastructure, the mobile app, over-the-air updates, garages, etc. Again, triaging that information with the vehicle data helps us better understand the threats we need to focus on. And finally, this leads us to the actual VSOC component itself within the VSOC infrastructure, taking all the data from the vehicle and offboard components to provide fleet security monitoring, cross-correlation, anomaly detection, and positive proactive threat hunting. Now, all these utilize the best of Microsoft's more than 7 trillion threat signals, which get collected and analyzed every single day. I'd just like to hand over to Andy, my colleague Andy, who will walk us through the further components of the Avanade solution. Andy, over to you.
Nice one. Excuse me. Thanks, Uche. Now, as Uche said, I'm Andy Hudson. I'm the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence lead here at Avanade. So as you can see in this slide, we have the overall solution components and the underlying cybersecurity reference architecture. Now, this comprises of the Microsoft Connected Vehicle Platform, or MCVP. Some people might be familiar with that. It comprises Microsoft Defender for complete automotive security, Microsoft Sentinel as the security and information events management system for the triage and log correlation. And finally, the Defender for Vehicle Edge module, which is looking for detecting anomalies, threats, and their behaviors. So thanks, Uche. Can we go on to the next slide? So that brings our overall solution stack together, which we call the Secure Automotive Cloud Platform, or the SACP for short. Now that includes the cybersecurity reference architecture, which we use as a baseline for cyber defense and vehicle security blueprints. With its help and the underlying operating model that we've constructed, we assess your organization's security strategy, risk, and vulnerability state, and use it as a baseline for implementing the vehicle security operations as an effective information or cybersecurity management system, an ISMS or a CSMS. Again, the Microsoft Connected Vehicle Platform also consists of the IoT Vehicle Edge and Microsoft Defender for IoT. Now, this is integrated into the runtimes and the underlying VSOC architecture, and it's underpinned, as I mentioned before, with Microsoft Sentinel, with custom playbooks, dashboards, so you can see your security posture in next to or near real time. Now, if we can skip to the next slide, we can dive into how the monitoring and detection works. So thanks, Uche. Now, here we can see a high-level visualization and detection using our SACP, or Avanade's SACP platform, or more specifically, how the Microsoft Defender for IoT in-car microagent works. Now, with Microsoft's threat intelligence, as Uche talked about a minute ago, analyzing 7 trillion threats and signals every single day, we combine this with Avanade's intelligence SOC, our own threat intelligence teams, as well as Microsoft's Sentinel, Microsoft's cloud connected SIEM platform, which plays one of the most important roles in the platform's architecture. It all works in harmony and helps your organization to provide governance, risk management, strategic threat intelligence, as well as compliance for your connected vehicles and the back-end and production systems that it services. So, we've talked a little bit about how all this works on this slide here, but how does it work in the real world? Well, let's take a quick look of how it actually looks. So if I can transfer over to Samba, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Andy. My name is Samba Kuita. I'm a senior technical business development manager here at Microsoft, looking after our security incubation solutions. So if you click on the next slide here, we will talk a little bit about the in-depth capabilities of the microagent. So we'll see some of the alerts that can surface to Microsoft Sentinel. So in a nutshell, these are the type of information that we can retrieve from the microagent. So basically, the first image will be the number of message exchange between the microagent deployed on the car, for example, and the cloud. And in the picture number 2, now we can see the number of all the alerts by severity that has been detected by the tool. So if you can go please to the previous slide. Yes, and then in the picture number 3, these are just some examples of alerts detected by the microagent. We can see here that there are some suspicious connection to malicious IP address, some suspicious use of the user add command, and even some known attack tools are deployed locally in the vehicle. So if you click next on the next slide, here we can see that we can surface all those alerts directly to Microsoft Sentinel, as Andy pointed out. And here, for a security analyst, we will see the details of everything about this particular alert, known attack tool. If you look at the below, line below, you can see that this is the Armitage type of attack tool that has been used, and we'll also find some of the remediation steps directly in the alert itself. Of course, now it's in Microsoft Sentinel. We can use the SOAR capabilities. We can also leverage some of the reporting using our workbooks. So if you click next here, we can see that the solution can also not only surface alerts based on the detected behaviors, but we can also send the raw logs. So basically, the agent will analyze, for example, all the network activity, all the processes that we run, all the connection to some suspicious IP addresses, and from there, you could basically create your own correlation rules on Sentinel based on the threat intel that you have. Okay, and if you click next here, we can also see that by using the agent, we can locally analyze all the configuration of the device itself, and give you the recommendation based on the CIH benchmark. Here we can see that, for example, we need to ensure that packet redirect sending is disabled, but you will see a bunch of other recommendations as well for the device itself. In the cybersecurity, of course, it's important to manage all the alerts, but the security hygiene and the recommended configuration is also something that is key. So if you click here on next. All right, so then I'll pass over to Ryan to take us through the rest of the presentation before I come back.
Thank you, Samba. So hi, everybody. I'm Rani Shalom from Microsoft Security. And what I wanted to do today is actually take a little bit of a deep dive into the solution functionality. And specifically, we'll talk about Defender for IoT, which is basically, as my colleagues mentioned, at the core of this solution. But before we do that, what I wanted to review with you is some of the regulatory landscape. So you see here kind of a list of what I would say the most known standards, regulations, and recommendations in this space. But as I'm sure most of you already know, this is not a complete and full list. There are more standards, more regulations, and we expect that over time, even new ones will emerge. We already see a few in around China and Japan, and of course Europe. And we expect more to see coming from the US and probably other countries as well. So let's review again some of the new standards and regulations. This time, let's focus a little bit more about the specific security requirements that are listed in these standards and regulations. As you can see, there are various requirements in this space, but we can actually put them in two buckets or security pillars, if you will, that are very common across the different standards and regulations. The first one that I would like to mention is a shift left approach or secured by design approach. Basically, this approach addresses security early in the design and development process. Specifically, you can see here it is listed under pre-production vulnerability detection, the ability to detect potential software vulnerabilities throughout the development cycle to ensure that car OEM vendors and other vendors in this space will address software vulnerabilities before the device is released to the market, making sure that the attack surface is minimized. The other bucket or security pillar that you can see in these standards is the need for cybersecurity throughout the entire vehicle life cycle, including post-deployment, meaning after the car was sold and basically purchased by the end user, the customer, and is on the road. During the post-production phase, when the car is on the road, the ability to continuously detect potential new vulnerabilities that were not detected, or basically because they were probably unknown before production, and the ability to provide continuous detection and response capabilities to ensure the driver's safety, as well as the solutions security throughout its operational phase. That's another key element in these regulations. Now, another key observation that I would like to call out specifically is the fact that the onus of security, the responsibility for providing security, lies with the car OEM. And all car manufacturers and OEM vendors will be responsible for the security of their vehicles. So as I mentioned, I want to deep dive a little bit into the functional aspects of this solution. So on the next slide, I'm focusing on the Defender for IoT Device Lifecycle Security, DLS for short, which is one of Microsoft's security solutions. That is, like I said, at the core of this automotive security platform. This was designed as an holistic solution that spans the entire life cycle of a device, from design all the way to post-production or deployment, basically. In a world where software is a key component of the vehicle, it is crucial to address security early in the design process, as I mentioned before. The practice of moving security checks as early and often as possible through the software supply chain is usually referred to as shift left or secured by design approach. The whole idea is to build safer and more attack-resistant vehicles. So from the get-go, the car or the vehicle will be safer and hardened and less susceptible to attacks from the internet. So our solution can basically take the binaries of the software, automatically deconstruct the underlying file system, and audit and identify backdoors, zero-day weaknesses, cryptographic weaknesses, and default accounts, and so much more, making sure that you get a full report of all the potential weaknesses that needs to be addressed before the device is being released to the market. After that, we can help you protect your shop floors. Basically, the automotive industry is one of the most leading industries in digital transformation and automation. And the automation of assembly lines and robots ensure effective production on one end, of course. But on the other hand, it introduces myriad of cyber risks. And our solution offers basically an agentless network detection capabilities that can provide you with the ability to rapidly deploy across your entire OT systems, cybersecurity that will protect your entire manufacturing from cyber attacks and reduce your downtime during manufacturing and basically manufacturing and your cybersecurity operations. Another element in our solution is on-device or on-vehicle, in this case, security. Once the car is on the road, we monitor all its operations for anomalous or unauthorized activity based on our behavioral analytics, based on a lot of different AI capabilities, and specifically threat intelligence. We can instantly detect and alert unauthorized access, remote access or local access, and unauthorized processes in your car. And by detecting that and alerting your operational centers, we can ensure that your cars are being safeguarded for any illegal or potential malicious activity. We support rapid triage of real-time alerts, and we can help you investigate historical events and hunt for threats. Also, you can leverage our device update services, so you can easily incorporate device update capabilities for software updates and security updates in your vehicle. The last element that I would like to call out is our VSOC. Basically, we're leveraging Microsoft Sentinel, our security and event platform, to basically provide you with a single pane of glass approach that provides you with a bird's eye view across your entire organization, including, of course, the vehicles on the road, your manufacturing shop floors, as well as even your backend enterprise, all the different IoT devices deployed in your enterprise and across your entire manufacturing plants, all from a single point of view, a single pane of glass, if you will, with our cloud-native SIEM and SOAR solution that is based on Sentinel and providing you with automated playbooks and response capabilities. Now, let's go to the next slide. Why Microsoft? So what is different with the Microsoft solution compared to some other solutions in the market? So first and foremost, as you probably already know, Microsoft is today one of the biggest security companies, if not the biggest security company in the world. We basically run a $15 billion business with about 8,500 employees. And you probably also read on the news that our CEO officially committed a $20 billion investment in security over the next 5 years. We're now trusted by about 650,000 customers, 90 of the Fortune 100 companies. And from a security perspective, we are a leader in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants and 7 Forrester Wave reports, probably the most accolated company today from a security standpoint. I already heard everybody mention it before, but we also operate the world's largest security research organization, processing over 24 trillion signals every day, every 24 hours. It's a huge operation with unparalleled visibility into threats and attacks in the wild. From a solution perspective, we think that we offer something very new, kind of a soup to nuts approach, a holistic, unified solution for life cycle security for vehicles, including all your IoT devices and OT devices, delivering continuous asset discovery, vulnerability management, and threat monitoring and response capabilities. We're also integrated, as I mentioned before, into the Microsoft SIEM and XDR infrastructure to deliver a complete SOC, automotive SOC solution. By the way, we do support third-party capabilities. So if you're running a separate SIEM platform or maybe a separate XDR platform, we can easily integrate with that. Sentinel by itself as a SIEM can integrate with hundreds of vendors, firewall vendors, endpoint vendors, you name it. We have the interfaces to support almost any type of a third-party vendor solution as well. So what you get the advantage of acquiring a single unified, fully integrated platform over kind of building your own solution and platform from point solutions. And that comes with all the obvious advantages of easier procurement, implementation, less integration hassle, of course, and a true partnership that will basically promote mutual success. Integrated in our solution is all the state-of-the-art bells and whistles of AI and cloud coming from Microsoft to reduce false positive with highly advanced AI trained on trillions of signals, as I mentioned. We can streamline common tasks with our automation capabilities that are built into Sentinel, and we can scale quickly to optimize your costs because we basically own the underlying cloud solution, the Azure cloud solution. I mentioned our advantages in terms of visibility into threat intelligence. Today, we generate huge amount of indicators of compromise based on our sheer visibility into the internet and across the globe, across all the different types of devices, whether IoT and endpoint and cloud and everything else. So with that, I want to hand over the discussion again to Samba to take us through the next slide. Samba?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Ran. I just wanted to add something here about the threat intelligence space. Microsoft did acquire a company several months ago that is called RiskIQ, which is really a pioneer in the external attack surface management, but also on the threat intelligence. So we are also getting the insights from this organization and really complements all the threat intelligence piece that Microsoft already had. So you really cover, all the interaction that we have with the Microsoft security ecosystem, and I'm sure our audience will be also familiar with the Sentinel, Microsoft XDR, and Defender for Cloud. And I think with that, I'll pass over to Uche to really take us through the rest of this presentation.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Samba and Ran. That was really exciting. Big thanks to all the previous speakers as well, by the way. We've really been enjoying the insights, and I hope the audience has as well. We're really excited about the solution, and of course, we know that 45 minutes or whatever time we have for the webinar isn't enough to kind of introduce the solution to you in its entirety. It doesn't do it justice. So we have a little tidbit or a little goodie for you to fill this gap. We have an innovation workshop, right, which we are planning for the 15th and 16th of November. And we're going to conduct this workshop in Garching. It's a small town north of Munich, known for its scientific research and innovation. And there, Accenture and Avanade run an innovation center, state of the art, with all sorts of interesting, exciting stuff. It's like it's been described as the home goods for techies and engineers. So what we've done there is we've built out an interesting use case, which we'll be demoing for you on the 15th and 16th of November. And these presentations will be accompanied by keynotes, presentations, and panel discussions. And these are all going to wait for you on the 15th and 16th. And the two showcases will comprise, for the first one, the security within the production plant at the very beginning of the vehicle's journey, and the second showcase would focus on safety and security within an embedded car, such as one within the fleet or already on the road in use, right? So in both cases, we'll be highlighting how Avanade's Secure Automotive Cloud Platform, or the SACP, as we call it, can help you leverage technology, people, processes, to provide clients with the right environment to not only secure the production plants and fleets, but also meet up with the UNECE WP.29 regulatory requirements, which, by the way, for most vehicles, vehicle OEMs, will need to be demonstrated by as early as 2024. So this is kind of an urgent matter, and we invite you to come to the Innovation Center and come and see what we're doing, like live and in person, because we have some interesting prototypes and demos running there. But before I talk too much, why don't you just have a look for yourselves? My dear colleague Walter Oswald was there recently. He's helping us build up this use case, or this innovation showcase, and we're more than happy to hand over to him in a short clip to give us some exciting insights. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, this is the Garching Innovation Center. I'm Walter Oswald from Avanade. I'm the Industry Innovation Lead, and I want to show you today a lot of exciting things. So let's go forward here. So in this example, we have actually a nice production line with two cars, there is always something you need to check. You need to make sure that's the right order. So to have a real-time understanding what's happening during the assembling, we build up a digital twin which shows you in green or red. It shows you some warnings during production. It goes all with sensors and even cameras. And this camera actually is looking over not what the workers are doing, but what the car is doing, if it's right mounted, in the right time, in the right product, with the right pieces. So let's continue and see what else we have. Now this tool here actually detects where the position is of the tool, and then set up the torque, and then you can actually do the right torque for the mounting. And then over there, we have actually connected robot arms, we have connected production lines, we have connected systems, which is actually on the shop floor. So that means sensors, that means where this has to go, the speed, is there any malfunction in it, is this quality good, does the robot arm the right thing? All this is managed by the system. So let's talk about security. My IP, my flow, my data, my information, my systems, all this needs to be protected. Now, what we have today in the OT side means that we have specific systems. It's made for this production line, it's made for this product, but not necessarily it's made for typically computer environment, which we have in the IT world. What we do is we have actually firewalls on the OT side, on the production line. And we use for that, for example, Microsoft Defender, which is a tool which you can actually install on the shop floor and make your own firewall, so it's 100% secure. Furthermore, we're using all these devices, but we have further devices. We have sensors. We have things like the HoloLens. You actually just put it on and you can see certain things which you can't see in a real world. So we're combining data with the real world in a production environment. And that's extremely helpful for the workers. There is so more to say and so more to come. And I'm looking very much forward to show you even more what we have built here with the environment of Microsoft and Avanade. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so as we can see, we have a lot of exciting things waiting for you guys. So if you're working in the automotive industry, you're a security technology leader, you're a CISO or responsible for vehicle security or security in general, you're more than welcome to join us at our workshop and convince yourself of the viability of this solution, and would love to engage you in showing you how we can, come together with you to make the solution work for your organization. I'll be there. All the experts you see on the panel will be there, and we look forward to in person walking you through all this, and maybe in a breakout session or in a one-to-one kind of give you a bespoke view on or bespoke version of this solution in whatever way it might be useful to you. So here are the dates again, or the information for the information for the event once again. Here's the information for the event once again, 15th and 16th of November. In general, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., although this includes breakout sessions, sessions which would typically run from around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. or longer if needed, but we would make our time to go to kind of have individual talks with you. This is going to take place at the Innovation Center, the Garching Innovation Center. Like I said, we'll be posting the link later on. I'll be showing you the invite form as well. So yeah, we hope you can make it. Again, like I said, security leaders, CISOs responsible for vehicle security. If you know anybody within this domain, please feel free to, feel free to invite them, bring them over, and yeah, it's very important to miss out. So we'll be happy if you could really make it. Now, in the next section, I'm going to hand over to Paulette, who's going to get us started with our Q&A session. Really looking forward to your questions, and yeah, feel free to ask any question. No question is irrelevant. Please throw it in there. I'll be handing over to Paulette now. Paulette, take it away.
Wonderful. How exciting that the Innovation Center looks amazing, and I hope that everyone can join. The registration link is in the window. Uche, if you want to just bring down the slides, we'll just have speakers on camera. We did have a couple of questions that came in earlier, so I will have Samba bring those in, but again, for the attendees on the webinar, you're more than welcome to come off mute and ask away. So this is an open discussion, but Samba, I'll turn it over to you to bring in those couple of questions that came in previously.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much for it. So indeed, we did receive some questions from the audience, and one of the questions I wanted to start with is basically about the response capabilities in case there is a sort of security issue in the car. So basically, the question is, what will be the available or the response capabilities that we are thinking in mind for connected vehicles. So for that, I want to start and get the perspective maybe of Onur. If you're here, can you please maybe share your perspective about that?
Sure. Thank you for the question. The answer would be a little bit more complicated, and it would start with depends, right? So I think we already did a lot of response automation with the traditional IT space, where we try to automate response. And I think the same is also possible within the vehicle space. So we can also imagine to go as far as to have mitigations actively on vehicles. So technically that is possible, and I think it is also depending on the attack scenario and also the type of response. I think there are responses like updating firewall rules, or maybe rather going towards a DevSecOps scenario where a patch is deployed. So we can think of various things that we can do as a response. But maybe Ran, you can add something to that if you also share your opinion.
Of course. Thank you, Onur. So I completely agree with what you said. I think that the way we at Microsoft look at it, we basically designed together with Avanade a multi-layered approach. We start from the device itself, in this case, a vehicle, as well as the supporting backend, the cloud infrastructure, and of course, the other security solutions in place. So the response layer basically transcends from the different layers of solution. Basically, the way I look at it is that we can respond depending on the specific attack scenario on the vehicle itself, the device itself, by using our micro agent capabilities, the onboard security agent, to maybe specifically address on-device threats. We can also respond at completely different layers, like at the back end. For example, if we detected some unknown or even malicious communications, we can cut these communications using our cloud firewalls or even on-premise firewalls that are integrated into our SIEM and SOAR solution. And all of it can be, by the way, automated using our SOAR capabilities. So you can build your own playbooks and workbooks to ensure specific automated or semi-automated responses, depending, again, on the different attack scenario.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ran and Onur. And actually, coming from the threat detection side of the things, from the IT side, so usually when we think about response capabilities, it's immediately maybe killing some process or isolating the device to avoid other devices in the same network to being infected. But yeah, from the automotive side, there is some precaution to take also, because you don't want just to shut down the car if it's still running. So I really like your perspective, Ranish, about being able to update some firewall rules or even disconnect some of the processes And as Arnold said, there is also a way to basically update, the car over the year. So that's very, very interesting. So I do have another question here from the audience, because now we are talking about Microsoft Defender for IoT Micro Agent. So the question is more about, how do we install basically this solution on the car, if there are any specific operating systems that are supported. So yeah, Ryan, can you please, share your perspective on that as well?
That's an excellent question. Well, the approach we take, and I think I actually mentioned it during when I described the solution itself, is basically full flexibility and full customization. What we can offer is different options for how to generate telemetry from the car, starting from basically open source code that we can share with the car OEM vendors to implement as part of their on-device, on-vehicle software. That agent, what we call the micro agent, will generate all the necessary telemetry for operational monitoring, as well as, of course, security monitoring. But we can also easily work with other on-device agents. By the way, we shared our code with the SDV, the software defined vehicle approach, again, as an open source, free open source capability that you can take as part of the Eclipse SDV framework. But if you have your own agent, onboard agent, we can easily interface with that and use the telemetry, work with you to create the relevant telemetry in the right schema to take that information into Defender for IoT and provide you with the same level of security.
Okay, thank you. That's great. So basically, there are some support operating system, but we can also provide, the firmware basically to embed into the operating system of the car as well. So that's very very interesting. So let me again look at the internal questions to see if there are additional ones. So just give me 1 second. Yeah, so the question is also if the solution that the VSOC and the microagent, so if it's only designed for the automotive type of environment, or if we can imagine to extend that to other type of areas. I don't know, train transportation, for example, or even aviation. So the question is if this solution can also be used to monitor those environments. Maybe Ryan again.
Sure. That's why I was happy to join this discussion. So I think that the quick answer is yes.
Okay.
It is. We see Defender for IoT as a platform that can support multiple IoT elements. So it could be cars, could be different elements. It all boils down to a list of highly trained, highly sophisticated detection engines that over time can basically adjust themselves to better detect threats. We're feeding these engines with, as I mentioned before, with enormous amounts of threat intelligence coming from our entire install base. So like I said, it's actually, last year it was 24 trillion signals every 24 hours. This year, I heard the number is even higher than that. So it's unbelievable amounts of intelligence that can help us detect all the existing in the wild threats. So the solution can protect trains, airplanes. Actually, we do have customers like that,
Okay.
vehicles, and much more than that. That's basically part of it. And you can easily add more capabilities coming from Microsoft and Avanade, such as fleet management. And by the way, an Accenture as well, because that's specifically that part comes from Accenture. So fleet management capabilities. And like I mentioned before, device update capabilities. There's more and more. And depending on how many building blocks you would like to get from us, we have it available for you.
Okay.
Just another perspective to what Ran said. I think a big challenge is always the operational part. So how do we do security operations? And I think and believe, especially also for the automotive sector, but also for other sectors, it is quite new to start doing something like security operations, right? So this is not something that everyone who does production of vehicles, airplanes, and so on, they are used to have continuous monitoring also for more than, let's say, an incident happens for safety. I think safety we are quite covered quite well, especially for the aerospace industry. But security is something where there's also a little bit of let's say, a cultural and mindset change. And I think the experience we have from IT helps to do such a transition and establish also secure operation.
All right. Great. Thank you very much, Honor. I have another question, maybe for Uche and Andy. It's more about, if Avanade had the team to operate this solution in Europe only, or if you are only present in the US, or if this is more of a global type of, service that you will be providing for cars. So I don't know if, Uche, if you want to start first.
Yeah, so this is obviously we're starting off with this in southern Germany, right? Because this is that's where the automotive industry is obviously very, very strong. But it's not limited to that. We clearly have the goal of making this a global offering, so even available to companies or to OEMs all over the world. So that's the short answer. For now, we're starting off in Europe, but that shouldn't stop anybody from outside these regions from getting in touch with us and coming to take a look at the solution.
So Samba, I'd hate to interrupt, but I think we are over time. So I just have one more. So I'd like to thank all the speakers and all the attendees. One more slide to show if we have time here. Just advertising the Garching Center again. And then with that, we will ask all of our attendees to fill out a short survey that's also in the chat window. Would appreciate it to help us continue to improve webinars like this. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you, speakers. Great content today, and looking forward to the opening of the Innovation Center.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice one. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
please feel free to get in touch with us. That's the email address down there. I'll put it in the chat as well. The team's at your disposal. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.